Always a joy to come your way with the very latest in the world of business. I am Pius Kojobaka. The Ghana Statistical Service has revealed in its latest 2024 quarterly report that Ghana experienced a trade surplus of 11.5% in Q1 of 2024. According to the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobnenim, this is more than twice the average of the year 2023. Here's a report.
For the first time, the Ghana Statistical Service has released the export and import price indices, also known as the unit value indices. These indices measure changes over time in the relative prices of exported and imported products compared to the quantities of these commodities. Chief Government Statistician Professor Kwabena Enim highlighted that a trade surplus was recorded in the first quarter of 2024.
Our nominal trade deficit in 2022, which was mainly driven by high commodity prices for mineral fuels and oils, have been reversed in 2023. This is based on the fact that we recorded a trade deficit of 4.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 and 5.3 billion Ghana cedis trade surplus in 2023. And this is as a result of the commodity price increases for mineral fuels and oils that we had in 2022, leading to the trade deficit. First quarter of 2024, we have recorded a trade surplus of 11.5%. This trade surplus of 11.5% is more than twice the average for the whole year 2023 and also the same time period in 2023.
The export value of cocoa products in Q1 2024 decreased to $592.2 million compared to an average of $825.8 million for the first quarters of 2021, 2022, and 2023.
Cocoa performed not as expected in the first quarter of 2024, having a slowdown in its total export value and recording the lowest since 2021, despite the fact that the first quarters of each year has seen the highest trade value for our cocoa exports. This report has put to light the fact that gold has consolidated its position between 2022 and 2023 with a share of 45.2%, and mineral fuels and oils has seen a lower share over the same time period. Increases have been mainly driven by upward changes in prices rather than increases in outputs.
Gold export became more significant in 2023, rising from 54.1 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 to 84.4 billion Ghana cedis.
All right, so we want to interrogate some of the findings of the report. Joining us via Zoom to do that is Dominic Odum. He is the head of trade at the Ghana Statistical Service. Thanks so much, Dominic. And now the 2023 trade report shows 5 times increase in both import and export. I'm wondering, what were the main drivers for this increase in trade volumes?
So thank you very much. And a very good evening to your listeners. Yeah, so like you rightly said, Ghana Statistical Service released this report. So there were 3 things that were released: the 2023 annual report, and then a quarterly newsletter for the first quarter of 2024. So looking at the numbers, like you have rightly said, in the first quarter of 2024, we are recording a surplus of about 11.5 billion. And compared to 4.5, which was recorded in the last year, that is 2023 quarter 1. So if we go into the report and then we look at what is really driving this, so once you are recording a surplus, what it means is that you are exporting more than you are importing. And if you look at the report, it clearly shows that 3 commodities, as usual, gold and minerals and fuel, and then cocoa, are the 3 main commodities that are driving this surplus that we are seeing.
And which areas would you say government needs to prioritize to ensure real value in terms of trade when it comes to policy direction?
Like we, Statistical Service, like we have started with this publication, what we intend to do is to provide the policymaker with more detailed information to help us to be able to enact policies that will help us to derive maximum utility from international trade. So looking at exports, so you can see that these three commodities forms about 2/3 of all our total exports. So the total value of export we saw in 2021, which is about 4.8 or in Ghana cedis, which is about 59.5 billion Ghana cedis. Three commodities, that is gold, cocoa, and oil, is accounting for over 70% of this 59.6 million or billion Ghana cedis that we saw in the first quarter of 2024. So the question that we keep asking, or we want policymakers to begin to look at, is these are the three main commodities that are your major foreign exchange earners. So now, who are your trading partners? If there's any shock in terms of your trading partners, are we diversified enough to be able to still sustain ourselves as a country by looking at other areas that we have potential to develop, such that we are not overly dependent on just these three commodities when it comes to our exports?
All right. So I understand that the export and import indices report, which you've launched, is the first of its kind. I'm wondering why export and import?
Yes, so the export and import index is a price indices, just like we have consumer price indices and producer price indices. This is an indices that also measure the price changes by doing international trade. So this is just like the CPI. So what it does is it also measures the price changes from one period to the other as we trade. So, and another thing that the indices can help us to do is to help us to measure our real growth when it comes to trading. Because for you to be able to know whether you are doing well or not, you need to, in a way, you need to take out the price effect. So, for example, let me give an analogy. If in 2023, we exported, let's say, 100 tons of cocoa at $1 per ton, and then in 2024, we are exporting 80 tons of cocoa at $2 per ton. Now, in nominal terms, in 2023, we exported 1,000. Now, if you come to 2024, we exported 80 tons, but there was a price increase. For that matter, we are exporting 160. So on the surface of it, you might think that you are doing well because you did $100 in 2023, and in 2024, you are doing $160. But the $160 you are seeing is not as a result of the increase in your output, but it's just a price increase. So this is what the UBI is coming to do, to help us to take out the price effect from all our international trade transactions so that we are able to measure true growth.
I guess this is going to be a yearly report or quarterly. Which of them?
Yeah, the indices is going to be published every quarter. So every quarter we are going to come up with the indices. So if you may permit me, if you look at the report, so on a quarterly basis, nominally, in 2021 quarter one, our total trade was around 44.5 billion Ghana cedis in 2021 quarter one. Then, if you run it through and you come to 2024, 3 years down the lane, 2024 quarter one, our total trade stands at 107.6 billion Ghana cedis. That is about 5 times what we were doing in 2021 quarter one.
All right.
And this is nominally. Now, if you take out the price effect, in 2021, we were doing 44.5. But if you take out the price effect, in 2024 quarter one, we are doing 47.0. So you see, nominally, it's telling you we did about 5 times what we were doing in 2021.
Certainly.
All
right.
We are just
Dominic, we are running out of time. We will definitely come back to you as and when we need more clarification on the report you've launched. Thanks so much, Dominic Odum. He is the head of trade statistics at the Ghana Statistical Service. So one of our headline stories, the World Bank has revealed that it is expecting its recent disbursement to trigger fresh donor funding and private capital investments to Ghana. The bank since January has advanced more than $300 million, with some $500 million expected before the year ends. Senior economist at the World Bank Group, David Elmelek, says all the actions should encourage other partners to come on board to support Ghana's economic recovery.
So I cannot speak for other donors, but what I can say is that the fact that the World Bank approved this operation yesterday, that the World Bank board approved this operation yesterday, is in fact a recognition of the reform program that has been enacted by the government, and the fact that it's starting to bear fruits. In addition, that financing and the reforms that we've supported will help further advance those reforms and stabilize Ghana. So we do hope that is going to create confidence in the country, and that could attract the support of other partners.
Your statement talked about also unlocking private sector investment. What did you mean by this and curbing inflation? Because is it the de-risking bit as well? Again, what did you mean by unlocking and bringing in terms of foreign direct investment and curbing inflation? I wanted some clarity on that one.
Yes. So, first, stabilizing the macroeconomy is a key step to attract the private sector and foreign investment. Because when you have high inflation, when the exchange rate is highly variable and depreciating, that does not breed confidence and attract investment. So that's the first step. The second step, we have specific reforms, in this series that should help to attract investment. One that we supported was, for instance, the lowering of the capital requirement for foreign direct investment. Before companies to invest in all sorts of sectors were required to invest a minimum amount of capital to be able to invest in Ghana. So some of those requirements have been relaxed, which should result in increased investment.
Back of this, an economist, Professor Patrick Esuming, joins us via phone for some discussions on this. Thanks so much, Professor Esuming. Now, the World Bank expressing hope that its recent disbursement will help trigger fresh donor funding and private capital investment to Ghana. I'm wondering again, how feasible will this be and what are the dynamics?
Good evening and good evening to viewers. Thanks for having me. I think ordinarily, like you was explaining, a country that has had a lot of economic challenges and have had to go through a lot of reforms. When the IMF or the World Bank approves funding, is a show of confidence in the kind of measures that are being implemented by that country. And that should ordinarily have triggered some additional inflows. I suspect that it is going to be much less likely for Ghana in that specific instance because, first of all, many of our bilateral partners who would have followed on the bank's funding are ones that we're already in discussions with because we are trying to restructure our bilateral debt. So it's unlikely that they will send us any funding until the bilateral discussions are done. Then in terms of private capital, well, I think the economy of Ghana is not in great shape now. I think the World Bank money is signed that we are implementing reforms, but I suspect that private investors will probably look to see more concrete signs that the economy is heading towards some progress before they flock to invest in Ghana. So I don't expect that is going to be very, very likely. We are likely to see any triggering of additional inflows in the near term.
I see. Now, the effective utilization of these funds really come to play. And how have we fared as a country when it comes to the utilization of these donor funds we get?
Yeah, I think what we get is that when the funds are, generally classified as budgetary support, it becomes extremely difficult to see a specific impact. And funds that go into a budget pool is not subject to the kind of scrutiny that will bring the required return to those funding. So, and you get a sense that because of our budgetary shortfalls, these funds are going to support those budgetary shortfalls. So, we are unlikely to see. It's very difficult to trace exactly what this impact is. We just hope that we, given the circumstances that we are in, we make the best use of every dollar we receive.
Now, what do these donors look out for to say, well, we will stop pumping money into your economy, apart from the underperforming macroeconomic indicators?
I think one thing that they will definitely be concerned about is overall management of the economy. I think if they feel that the management of the economy is not optimal, and issues like wastage of public resources or corruption, if they see those kind of indicators, you realize that they tend to go back. We've seen that before. I think even before we went to the previous IMF program, there was a little bit of that, and even with the current one. So I think when they see that the overall management of the economy is not optimal, and especially they see significant wastage in public funds, then it becomes a problem. Don't forget that these funds, a lot of them are ultimately some other country citizens' money. And those people will expect that their government only spend money when it is giving the value. So when the overall money for our own finances are not, they are less influence.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Patrick Esumain, for agreeing to speak to us on Business Live. This is still Business Live. We are back with more. Please stay. Welcome back to the program. Communications and Digitalization Minister Ursula Owusu-Ekufo has confirmed that the company awarded to roll out the 5G network, NextGen Infraco, was indeed created 1 week before they were awarded the contract. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo says it was specifically created to handle the rollout because there was no neutral infrastructure company in existence at the time. Briefing the press on the 5G rollout, the communications minister added that government decided against auctioning the contract due to previous experiences and setbacks that have limited the rollout of 4G, which has just a 15% nationwide penetration since 2015.
Now, this is a special purpose vehicle. Once government took the decision that we would use a neutral infrastructure company to deliver this service, there is no existing neutral infrastructure company at the moment. So it had to be specifically formed for the purpose of delivering this service based on the strategic policy decision of government. And it is born out of, as I indicated, our past experiences. And that is why we chose not to auction it. I'm sure the finance minister would have been happy if we had sold it off at auction, collected our...
So much for watching Business Live for today. I am Pius Kojobaka. For more stories, feel free to log on to myjoyonline.com/business. See you same time tomorrow. Bye.